The psychotic MyPillow guy is now in quite a bit of trouble here. This is pretty astonishing. MyPillow founder Mike Lindell is ordered to pay $5 million in election fraud challenge. Now, by the way, I don't know if he has that kind of money anymore, man. I really don't know. I mean, his pillow company was big, but then he may have actually wasted all the money doing these like fraudulent audits of the election. So here's what they say. An arbitration panel has ordered MyPillow chief executive Mike Lindell to pay $5 million to a software engineer for breach of contract in a dispute over data that Lindell claims proves that China interfered in the U.S. 2020 elections and tipped the outcome to Joe Biden. But Lindell told the Associated Press on Thursday that he has no intention of paying and that he expects the dispute to land in court. Lindell, a prominent promoter of false claims that voting machines were manipulated to steal the 2020 presidential election, launched his Prove Mike Wrong challenge as part of the cyber symposium he staged in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in August 2021 to further his theories. Lindell offered, through one of his companies, a $5 million reward for anyone who could prove that packet captures and other data he released there were not valid data from the November 2020 election. Robert Zeidman entered the challenge with a 15-page report that concluded the data from Lindell did not contain packet data of any kind and do not contain any information related to the November 2020 election. A panel of contest judges that included a Lindell attorney declined to declare Zeidman a winner, so Zeidman filed for arbitration under the contest rules. After conducting an evidentiary hearing in Minneapolis in January, the three arbitrators on Wednesday ordered Lindell to pay Zeidman $5 million. Quote, he proved the data Lindell LLC provided and represented reflected information from the November 2020 election unequivocally did not reflect November 2020 election data, the arbitrators wrote. Failure to pay Mr. Zeidman the $5 million prize was a breach of the contract entitling him to recover. Oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my life, guys. Oh my God, this is amazing. So for those of you who don't understand what's going on here, usually what private companies do is they'll put a clause in the contract that says, hey, if we have some sort of dispute, we're not going to court. We're not going to court. Too much time, too much money, too messy. We'll go to arbitration. What is arbitration? Arbitration is basically like a private court process. But usually what companies do is they will make sure to load the arbitration panel with people who are sympathetic to the company. And so there you give basically whoever's in charge, whoever's the boss, they have a big advantage when it comes to arbitration. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but some preposterously low percentage of decisions from arbitration panels cut in the direction of the little guy. It almost always goes in the direction of the company or the owner. So for an arbitration panel, for Mike Lindell's thing to come out and say, yeah, bro, homie sort of got you. You better pay up. Oh, that's devastating. Oh, that's so devastating. Look, it reminds me of the very rare instance that CNN actually did a good job with something. They interviewed Mike Lindell, and they took his claim seriously. They were like, okay, tell me what your evidence is that the 2020 election was stolen. And Mike Lindell was doing the same song and dance that he did here. I got all these documents. I don't know why my Mike Lindell sounds like Alex Jones. I got all these documents, and these documents have all sorts of numbers and letters in them and all sorts of symbols and stuff, and I'm pretty sure that this shows that Maduro and Hugo Chavez and China Xi, they won the election, they turned it over to Joe Biden, they're friends with Hunter Biden, they have all these contracts, look at all these numbers, look at all these symbols that I have on this sheet of paper, this is obviously evidence of that. And what CNN did is they actually went through the documents, and they found, just to give one example, there was information that Mike Lindell claimed was from a particular voting county in, I want to say, Ohio or something like that. And Mike Lindell was like, yeah, I got this from the internet. It's the voting data from that place. That place wasn't even connected to the internet. So he either totally made it up or he was totally hoodwinked by somebody who was scamming him. And CNN went through, did their due diligence and went through it and were like, here's why these claims are bogus and it's not true. That's what this reminds me of, right? His own arbitration panel's like, dude, this is evidence of nothing that you're presenting here. You better pay up the $5 million because you said you'll pay $5 million if somebody can debunk it. Well, guess what? It's been debunked. The arbitrators ordered Lindell to pay up within 30 days. Quote, they clearly saw this, as I did, that the data were given at the symposium was not at all what Mr. Lindell said it was. Zeidman said in a statement Thursday, the truth is finally out there. Zeidman attorney Brian Glasser said the arbitrator's ruling marked another important moment in the ongoing proof that the 2020 election was legal and valid, and that Lindell's claim about the validity of his data had been definitively disproved. Lindell disputed that and said he intends to release additional data. Oh my God, this is classic. I got more data coming. In the coming weeks or months that will prove his claims of Chinese interference in the 2020 elections and validate what he put out earlier. It's going to end up in court, Lindell said. I'm not going to pay anything. He didn't prove anything. Lindell is already the subject of a $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit filed by Dominion Voting Systems in the District of Columbia that says Lindell falsely accused the company of rigging the 2020 presidential election. He's also the target of a separate defamation lawsuit in Minnesota by a different voting machine company, Smartmatic. Lindell said it's strange that the arbitrators ruled a day after Dominion settled its defamation lawsuit against Fox News for nearly $800 million and suggested it's all an effort to get him to end his crusade against electronic voting machines. I'll spend everything I have to save the country I love, Lindell said. Dude, you are not a hero. He really thinks he's this crusading hero. You are not a hero. You are a weirdo. Honestly, this is legit. I'm not just saying this to be smug. Former crack addict who's now addicted to conspiracies and Trumpism. That's all you are. And so look, all I'll say is this. You know that this has been a colossal failure for the Stop the Steal and rigged election people, when now we have a number of settlements that are coming out. When you have Fox News settled for $787 million they have to pay Dominion Voting Systems now. You know that they know, oh my God, we messed up bad, bro. We messed up bad. This country has incredibly lenient laws when it comes to free speech, as it should be, right? You get leeway to say a lot of stuff, man. You even sort of get leeway to lie a little bit. But it becomes an issue when not only are you lying, you're lying recklessly and with malicious intent. And we're at that point now when it comes to the 2020 election. We are. And so Mike Lindell is, look, it may end up in court ultimately, and I got to be honest with you guys, I think it doesn't look good for Mr. Lindell. It really doesn't. These guys came out there so confident, so arrogant, and then they faceplant right onto concrete. And that's what we're witnessing. Honestly, you love to see it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.